Growth doesn't stop when you achieve your goal. The question is, what's next? And that's what we're talking about in this episode. What do we do once we've achieved those goals? How do we set new goals to keep growing and keep building and keep being successful? Hey, I'm coming to you today from Paris. We've moved, that's right. We were in London and now we are in Paris. And that's just another goal. We had a plan and here we are in a new city. And what a beautiful city we got here last night. So we're going to walk around, do one of our episodes, and we'll go from there. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. I'm glad that you're joining me for another episode of my 100-Day Walk to Consistency. This is episode number 79. I'll see you on the walk. All right, so thank you for joining me again. And what a beautiful city I am in right now. We got here yesterday, and we drove around, took probably a 2.5, maybe 3 hour preliminary tour as we got off of the train, which took about 2 hours to get from London here to Paris. Drove around yesterday and saw some of the major sites, and then today we're gonna go out. We have a couple of things that we got planned. We're gonna go up to the Eiffel Tower. We went to Notre Dame yesterday, and a couple of other things that we'll see. But anyway, I am now walking around, and as you see, the buildings are amazing. We're going to try to not get folks in our shot, but there are a lot of folks around, so we'll see. So you may end up seeing me like this a little bit as we move by them. And this is actually an area right outside our hotel. Not far from here is the Louvre and Notre Dame. Actually, we're in walking distance from there. And oh man, look at this. This is beautiful. I'm going to turn around here for a minute so you can actually just get. This is one of the hotels near where we're staying. Let me see if I can do that without getting some folks in. Yeah, look at that. Look at the architecture. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. All right. So anyway, we're going to be walking around here, and like I said, we will try to not get folks in the shot, and we're actually going down a busy street, so we'll see how that goes. All right. So we're talking about setting goals, setting new goals. One of the amazing things that happens when we're consistent is we start to check off those goals. You know, when we're not consistent, there's always a lot of busyness that's happening. There's a lot of energy that's being expended, a lot of work that's going in, but we're not getting anywhere. And so what we find is that often many of the things that we say we want to do don't fall off of our list. But when we are able to be consistent, then what we'll find is that we have all these amazing opportunities to begin cutting things off of our list. Well, when you take things off the list, then what do you do after that? Do you say that I've arrived and this is it? Or do you begin saying, okay, what do I do next? And that's what we're talking about. What do we do next in the process of remaining successful? And that is ultimately our goal. Remember, limitless living is not just about reaching that particular destination. It's not just about reaching that particular goal. It's about how do we, in the course of our lives, continue being successful in whatever area we find ourselves. And ultimately, how are we successful long term? So while you may find a particular area where you're like, man, this is just amazing, this is great, I've done it. Well, what's next? The limitless living inventory. And if you've not looked at that yet, you want to make sure that you go back and you look at it. It's a way of taking stock of all the different areas, the different domains. And there are 8 that we've talked about, or 8 that we've come up with, all the various domains of health. When we talk about health, we're talking about physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, occupational, relational. So all of those areas are areas that we want to continue improving. So even though you may be successful, you've reached a goal. For instance, you may reach a health goal. You may say, man, I'm down the amount of pounds that I want. My A1C is at goal. My cholesterol is better. My high blood pressure is better. I'm off of medications. All of those things that you've done are amazing, but what's next? Do I now need to take a look at my relationships? Am I doing well socially? Right? Am I doing well financially? And so you want to make sure that you're not just saying, okay, I've reached a particular goal and then now I'm done. So why can we not just stop? We can't just stop because life is always going. Life is always moving. And if we stop, all right, what do they say? Things that are not moving are dying, right? So you want to make sure that you're continuing to do all the things that you need to do to be successful in the various areas of your life, okay? All right, so let's see. Now, this is supposed to be one of those streets with lots of major stores. So let's head down. That side needs more busy, so we're gonna head down this way, okay? All right, so let's go this way. And in the area we're in right now, there are a lot of pedestrians, but not a lot of cars. There are cars moving through. So area we're heading to will have a lot more cars. So we'll head over that way. So we'll have to be careful. All right. So many people, they work hard, right? So we work hard. And when I say hard, right, some things that we do, it takes effort, y'all. It's not easy. And you've seen that over the last 78 days, 79 now, that what we do, sometimes it takes effort. And there are starts and there are stops, and there are challenges that we have to overcome when it comes to scheduling and family and just motivation and drive and getting sick and weather and all the stuff. By the way, it's cold. You see me bundled up. Yeah, it is cold. Colder than I'm used to in Alabama, at least. So you've overcome a lot of different things, and now you've arrived. You've gotten through that, and the tendency is to say, "Wow, now let me kick back and let me relax." Well, remember, one of the things that we talked about is this concept of momentum, and momentum is very important because it's so easy to lose momentum, and then it's difficult for that inertia to kick back in and for us to get over that hump again. So we want to make sure that as we're moving, we're not losing momentum, right? The other reason that sometimes it's tough is because we never really anticipated that we were going to get where we needed, right? We didn't think that that was going to happen. And so we've reached here, we've got to that goal, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? We didn't plan for it because we didn't anticipate that we were going to, let's go down this way. We didn't anticipate that we were going to be successful. And so now that we're successful, we don't really have a plan of what to do for the next thing. So if you don't have a new direction, then it takes time now to get through this process and then to start over. And so our goal is to have a plan as we're getting to the success of this current journey so that we are, of course, making the best use of our time and we're not losing momentum. So the goal, let's go through, remember what those words are? Goals, just like clarity, give us what? Direction, they give us energy, and they give us focus. Direction, energy, and focus. And that goes along with this idea of rhythm, alignment, and structure, right? So guys, I know I like those acronyms and those little sayings. So a lot of the keystone principles that we talk about are things that will allow us to be aligned, will give us definition, will give us direction, will give us focus, and then of course gives us the energy that we need to succeed. Wow, that's a different stuff. I'm gonna have to come back and do a video just doing the stores. Yeah, they took us down a place that was called like where was it? All the different department stores and all the different places that we talk about, Christian Dior. And okay, let's go down this one. I think there's a football game in town. We call it soccer. These guys are in their kilts. All right. So it gives us a sense of purpose. So when we are able to when we're able to look at and make those plans, we continue to grow and we continue to evolve. So that's why it's important for us to make sure that we are continuing to plan, continuing to grow, because when you stop and you settle, or when you stop and you pause because you don't have an additional plan, then that wastes time and it causes other issues. Okay? All right. So what are 3 steps? What are some steps? Ooh, let's go down. This is a beautiful one. Not a lot of folks here. Let's do that. So what are some steps to setting new goals for the future? And you know, some of these you've heard before, right? So number 1, you want to reflect on your current growth. So what are 3 steps for setting new goals? Number 1, you want to reflect on your current growth. So before setting out on a new path, you want to take a moment and you want to reflect on where you are and what's happened since you've been here. Where did you start? What growth have you had? What ideas have you come up with? What has been the big issue that you solved? How have you changed? Remember, we're talking about changing our mindset. We're talking about changing our perspective. We are more resilient. We're able to problem solve better now. We have better communication skills. We have better relationships. So you want to reflect to make sure that you have noted all of those changes, all of those growth opportunities that you've seen. Maybe there's something in the growth that you want to expand. Maybe there's something that you want to say, man, this right here was good, but if I could do some more of this, if I can grow in this area, or maybe I can apply this skill that I've learned to a different area of my life. And if I can do that, then that's great, right? So reflect on the growth that you've had so far. Ask questions like, what have I achieved so far, right? Because we often, as we talked about before, we don't have those. We tend not to take those times to celebrate. So what have I achieved? What has been the thing that has been a plus for me? Where have I grown? What areas do I still need to improve on? Maybe there's some areas that you want to continue working on, right? You've done great in some places, but now you want to expand somewhere else. And so what are those areas that you can continue to work on? Another question for you. What did I struggle with the most? Once again, we're continuing to expand, we're continuing to grow, we're continuing to look at areas, because Limitless Living says that there has to be, for me, a continual posture of growth and continual posture of improvement, right? So that's what we're doing. That's what we're working on. The rhythm, alignment, and structure. What is the rhythm of my life? What is the general trend of my life? What is the general focus of my life? That's what rhythm is. And of course, alignment is what's the why, as we've talked about before. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So we're going to turn down here. So that's number 1. You want to reflect on where you've been You want to go and look at all the changes that have happened for you and how you've grown, what has improved, what you may still need to work on. And let's see. All right, here we go. Yeah. Some of the stores. Then over here. Let's look out that way. All right. Number 2, you want to choose goals that align with your involvement, your evolving vision. So choose goals that align with your evolving vision. So as we have grown, our vision may have grown. It may have changed. We have different things that we like now because our perspective is better, is different, because our confidence is different. We will accept and we will take on things that we probably would not have done before. And so now our vision is expanded because we now feel more capable. Remember, our vision sometimes shrinks to our level of comfort. Oh man. That's one right there. Oh, I gotta write that down. Our vision shrinks to our level of comfort. I just came up with that one, by the way. That's what I love about this. As I'm talking, right? So these concepts evolve and they connect and they morph. So if your comfort level is small, then your vision is small. Why? Because you're not confident in your ability to achieve. You're not confident in your ability to get to where you need to be with respect to that thing that you want to do. And so when these opportunities come, there's no way to take ownership of them. There's no way for you to say, okay, I'm going to do that. But now that your vision has changed, that your confidence has changed, your vision can change. And so now that my vision has changed, what are some of those things that I may not have looked at before? What are some of those goals that I may not have achieved? Some of the goals that I did not want to look at, those goals that I did not want to add to my list, that I can now put in there because I can do them now. I'm confident in my ability. I'm confident in me, right? So what excites you? What excites you about the future? That's going to change. And the things that excite you, maybe those are the things that you need to be going after. What skills or habits do you now have? Oh man, this is beautiful. What skills do you now have? What are the things that you now have seen? What are the places that you now have gone that you can say, hey, let's do this? Like one of the things I'm excited about right now is that, so we came to London, we came to Paris, and the trip from London to Paris, 2 hours. I didn't even realize that we had arrived. And now we're in Paris, and from Paris, I can get to Belgium. I can get to so many different places just from here. So my vision has now increased, right? So what now do you have access to that you did not have access to before? What skills have you developed? What abilities to problem solve have you developed that you can say, now, this is a no-brainer. I can do this all day, every day. Bring it on. What challenges will push you to the next level? What are the things that you see in your future? And when I say challenges, so we're no longer looking at challenges as obstacles. Right? So we're no longer looking at challenges as obstacles. We're looking at challenges as opportunities for us to grow. Oh, we're gonna have to come back here to some of these stores, get some souvenirs. I was trying to find this place. Let's see. Ooh, there's a lot of folks in here. So let's see, maybe. So there's a little eatery that's right there. So let's go back this way. I'm gonna cross the street really quickly. And we walk back down this way. All right. So now that I have those skills, bring it on. And the challenges are no longer obstacles. They are opportunities for me to grow and for me to develop. And so back over there, see all those people? That's where I was gonna walk through, but I decided that was not a good idea. Okay. And then next thing is we want to use the SMART framework to begin developing those new goals. Remember, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. If we are going to be successful, we always have to have structure. And when we're talking about goals, that is the structure right there. Those are the features of the goals that we want to make sure that we're putting into place as we're thinking, as we're sitting, as we're evaluating. We want to make sure that all the things that we have are aligned with that alignment again. They're aligned with this idea of SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, and time bound. And so I'm in the park right now. Let's see, which park is this? I'm gonna go take a look at the board. Jardin des Tuileries. Okay, that's my French. Okay, I may come back and take a picture of this so you guys will see where I am. Okay, but we're gonna walk down, and this is now, okay, yeah. This is really nice. Okay, okay, you see there? Let me do a quick panoramic behind me so you guys can see. Nice area. And so what I understand is that there are 18, I'm not sure if they call them quarters. So 18 areas of Paris, which is where we are. And there are 4. So north, south, east, and west. And each one has a park, right? And I think this is the park I think we're in the north. So each one has a park. And then the city is kind of divided into quarters, I think is what they're called, kind of like French Quarter. And don't get the geography mixed up, right? So don't quote me on that, but that's what our guy told us. If you're from France or you know more about this than you know. But anyway, so it's divided in different sections, and we drove around and from one section to the next and next. And then the architecture is much different as you get from one section to the other. So, all right. So we're talking about SMART goals. SMART, specific. Not just I want to lose weight, but I want to lose 30 pounds. Measurable. Is it measurable? Yep. Because you can get on the scale. Boom, there it is. Is it achievable? It certainly is. Right? Unless there's some major compelling reason why that cannot happen. Excuse me, folks. Once again, it's cold and yeah. So unless there's some major compelling reason why that can't happen, we can do it. Is it relevant? Well, it depends on what your ultimate goal is. Remember, alignment. And so that relevant part is having to do with alignment. So if you're heading somewhere, you got that North Star statement, you got that why, and losing weight, losing 30 pounds, aligns with that goal, then there it is. And then is it time bound? So I'm going to lose 30 pounds. And remember, when we started off, we said that if we're going to set SMART goals, we have to have researched, we have to have investigated. How long should it take me to lose 30 pounds? And our recommendation is a half a pound to a pound a week. So that's going to take you between 30 and 60 weeks. Right? That's sustainable. We're not talking about whether you can do it faster than that. You probably could, but is it sustainable? Is it sustainable? All right. So SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And then what you want to make sure that you're doing is that you're documenting this all the way. Did I say all the way? Yeah, you're documenting this the whole way, because if you don't, then you set yourself for a world of hurt, and you will have, just like I'm doing right now, as I'm making connections, right? This video is my documentation. So all the stuff that you hear me saying, the connections I'm making, yeah, boom, there it is. And you want to document it because you can use that to set the course, to give you definition, to give you direction, to give you energy, and of course to give you focus. And I'm going to pause here for a minute because we got some folks that are walking across. And we don't want to, there's a whole stream of people coming by. There we go. All right. So how do we stay committed? I'm not sure if those people got in the video, but that's okay. How do we stay committed to new goals? Because we've been on the task, right? We've been on the journey. We've been running and rolling and ripping, and right. So we've been doing that. So how do we stay committed to the task? One of the things, and I'm pausing here because this is a conversation that I have with myself, and certainly a conversation that I think you need to have with yourself. And the idea is going back to where limitless living comes from. So for a long time, I did stuff like I went to school. I'm going to be a doctor. I went to residency, and there was this path that was laid out for me. And I did those things because that path was there. There was not a focus for my life other than, okay, I'm going to be a doctor. Boom. Okay? But what does that mean? And what is the goal? What is my purpose? What is my why? Ultimately, what is the thing? And so limitless living really is an outgrowth of a desire to have meaning and to have, I don't want to say significance, but for lack of a better word, let me use that word. But to have the things in my life have a purpose. One of the things I tell people is that one of my goals right now is to help my son launch well. And people say, what do you mean? I say, well, he has to be a member of society. And so there are things that I've got to talk to him about, things I've got to teach him to help him achieve that and to help him be successful. And so many of the things that I do, many of the schedules that I have, many of the places I go, many of the things I talk about are with the intention that my primary focus is to make sure this young man gets to where he needs to be, and that he gets there successfully. Yeah? So that's one of my things. One of the things is to make sure that my wife is, like, I can't make her happy, but to provide what she needs so that she's fulfilled. That's one of my purposes. And so limitless living simply says that there are all these things, that all these domains of my life that I've got to look at to make sure that I'm doing the best job in those areas, right? And it's not just for them, but it's for my personal fulfillment. Because if I'm not fulfilled, then it makes it difficult for me to bring my A game to the things that I've been talking about. So for you, the question ultimately, as you're learning Keystone Principles, as you're doing the limitless living keys, as you're looking at the domains, is what is your ultimate purpose? And that's that rhythm. That's the rhythm of your life. What is the thing that helps you function? What is the driving force behind what you do? Okay, that's the rhythm of your life. What's the tenure of your life? For another way of saying that. Does that make sense? Okay. So with that said then, as we are talking about how to stay committed, we want to set our next level challenge. Right, so we've been there, we've done that now. You're good. You're here. You're 79 days in. This is a pattern. Right? This is what you do. This is what we've created. This is the vision of the person that we are. So what's next? What do I do? What do I do with this? Was it last year, or is it now it's all kind of blended together? But when we moved from our art of letting go, so each year I choose a different theme for my show, and we did building a better version of ourselves. And then we moved to the art of letting go. What do we need to get rid of to allow us to be able to step into the next phase of our life? And then we talked about new year, new you. So we had new year, and we're designing a new version of ourselves, better, more confident version of ourselves. And when we talked about that, a lot of people focused on the new, because of course it's new year, and people do New Year's resolutions, and people do all, they go to the gyms and they go out to all these places to get exercise equipment, they buy clothes, and that's about February or so. After the new year, things change and they start collecting dust. And one of the points that I made to them was that the important part of that theme, the new year, new you, was not the new year. The important part of that was the new you, because the new you, the new us, that's what we take with us. All right. So everybody got focused on the year, but the new you, the new us, the new version of ourselves is what we have with us. And so as we're moving to set our goals, right, new goals, well, what's next? What's next? There are some things that you met, that you understood during this series. There's some things that you saw. There's some things that you looked at for a moment and you looked away because it was so painful. Maybe that's the next level. Maybe that's the next thing. Maybe that's the next place that you got to put some energy in. You started with a goal of a particular amount of weight, and you got there, or you approached there, and something happens, and your brain said, "Oh, this is too good to be true. I can't do this. I don't know if I could sustain this." Maybe that's the place that you go to. What's the next thing? What's the next challenge? What's the next level? What's the next thing that's going to set you up for success? And that's where we go. Because those are the spaces where our direction, our energy, and our focus happens. If we don't have those things, if we don't have those challenges, if we don't see these things as opportunities, then they become obstacles and they stop us from doing and going where we need to go. So if you've built a habit of waking up daily, challenge yourself now to increase the intensity of what you do. All right, keep an eye out. We got some more stuff coming up. Right, so what we're gonna do? Number 2, break big goals into smaller, measurable, manageable milestones. Remember, we got that big goal now. We've decided what the rhythm of our life is gonna be. We've decided what the next challenge is gonna be. Now we've applied the SMART algorithm. And now let's start breaking it down. Always. We're not looking at the big goal. We're looking at, okay, how do I improve just that? How do I improve just that small part? How do I get just that piece going? How do I get just that next milestone? One of the things that we'll talk about in the future is that the hardest part is not really once you get momentum. The hardest part is usually that first step. It's usually that first step. And if we can make that first step, oh yeah. And then, so break it down, and then accountability. One of my major accountability features or functions is that I have a group of guys and my wife that I tell, okay, what am I going to be doing? Okay, this is my plan. You know why? Because there are times when I didn't want to do it. There are times when I was tempted to say, yeah, let's do something else. And because I've told them, guess what? You're almost embarrassed to go back on it, right? But that sets you, oh man, that's so amazing. So make sure that you tell somebody. You want to have some accountability. Find a system, whether it's a coach, you join the community here, that will keep you accountable, that will hold your feet to the fire, if you will. We'll give you a kick in the butt if you need to. We'll lift you up, we'll carry you, we'll push you if you need to. But somebody, something, someplace where you will have some accountability. And then you want to make sure that you expect adjustments along the way. It's going to happen. So we came to London, and we were supposed to stay at a particular place. Well, actually not in London, but here in Paris. And when we were getting ready to leave London, found out that there was something going on with the place we were supposed to stay. And so we had to pivot. We changed. And I'm excited because we stayed at a better place. Okay? So this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Look at that. This is beautiful. So you want to make sure that you adjust. Your first plan might not be perfect, but it's a plan. And you may have to change, you may have to adjust as you move to that plan. And you know, I'm going to say, this is an amazing conversation because we keep growing. That's how we keep growing, because every time we get to one of those goals, every time we get to one of those milestones, every time we get to where we think, okay, this is where I said I was going to be, come on, let's do something else. Let's add something else. Let's go to a different place. And if we can do that, then we are continuing to change ourselves, to grow ourselves, and to be successful. Got some kids over here. All right, so are you ready for our challenge? Right? You ready for our challenge? So make sure you grab your journal, because this is writing. Grab your journal. And number one, we want to reflect on what we've achieved so far. You have done an amazing job. Did I tell you that you're adequate? Yes, I think I did. But let me say it again. You are adequate. Right now, just the way you are, you're adequate. And you have had some tremendous benefits. You have made some tremendous strides in your consistency, in your structure, right? That rhythm, alignment, and structure. You're here. Day number 79. Wow. So reflect on that. What have you learned? Write down 3 or 4 things that you didn't think were going to happen at the beginning that now you've had. Write down. You say, well, I didn't think I could do 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, but now I've done 79 days. Write that down and celebrate those. What's one area that you said, man, this is the area that I've really, I have gone beyond in this area. This is the thing that, man, it is amazing. It is the place where I've made some tremendous stride. What's that one thing? I want you to think about that, and you want to write about it, draw about it, journal about it, because circle it, color it, underline it, bold it, whatever you need to do. All right? And then set one goal that builds on the things that you've done so far. I want you to set a new goal. This is a new goal where we're looking at, okay, maybe it's a thing that I have succeeded in. It is the thing that I right now said, oh man, that's the place that I've changed. Maybe that's the one. Or maybe it's one of the other 3 that you just wrote down. What next thing am I going to do that's building on where I am right now? Take it and then begin using SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Begin writing it down. How do I get there? And then finally, I want you to take one small action in that direction. Come on. So, well, let me say, that's going to be your plan. That's going to be your plan, right? What are we going to do? What are we going to do next? Because we're looking forward. All right, now we're finishing up 100 days. What are we going to do? What's our plan? What's our next plan? What are we going to do? Right? And your action is actually just going through this exercise. So you have a plan. When we get to the end of this, what are we doing next? What are you going to be doing next? What area are you going to be focusing on? And then come on back. This is one of my favorite conversations. I know. Keystone principles. They are all amazing. And if we are doing what we need to do, then we get the benefit of all of this. So success isn't just about setting goals. It's about creating a system that keeps you moving to success and keeps you moving in the general direction of being amazing, being consistent, being resilient, and continuing to be successful in your life in all your areas. Not just about setting this goal, not just about achieving this goal, but what do we do next? And that's what we talked about as we talked about how do we create new goals to keep us going and keep us consistent. I'm glad that you're here with me for another episode of my 100-day walk to consistency. Remember, every day that you show up, every day that you're here, you're building a better version, you're building a more consistent version, you're building a stronger, more self-confident version of yourself. Make sure you join me tomorrow for day number 80. I'll see you on the walk.